Welcome back to the Quackery, where a regular Taylor resident wades through city plans and meetings, then breaks them down so you don't have to dig through it all yourself. The City Council meets this Thursday, August 28th at 6 p.m. over at City Hall. Let's take a look at what's on the agenda. First up is the consent agenda. These are routine items that usually get passed all at once. They'll start by approving the minutes from the last meeting, just making that record official. Then there's an agreement with Encore to move power poles out of the middle of the city cemetery and over to the edge. That's a nice cleanup, and it doesn't cost the city anything. They'll also review July's monthly financial report. In short, the city brought in about $47.7 million and spent about $48.8. So right now we're running about $1.1 million in the red. The general fund, which pays for things like police, fire, and parks, is looking stable with revenues slightly ahead of expenses. But utilities and the airport are struggling. The airport in particular is spending more than double what it's bringing in. On the bright side, special revenues, like development impact fees and TIF district funds, are coming in stronger than expected. Another item is a special use permit for a 5.7-acre property on West Lake Drive. The owner wants to run it as short-term lodging with that living there full-time. Normally, city rules require an on-site operator, so this would be an exception, essentially letting it operate like an Airbnb. And finally, the city is formally approving its participation in the WEX Fuel Card program. That's basically a credit card system for fueling up city vehicles, from police cars to garbage trucks. It makes it easier to track purchases and prevent fraud, and there's no extra cost to use the program. After that, we move into the public hearing section, where folks can speak up on zoning changes and new ordinances. There's a 47-acre property on County Road 403 that the owner wants to bring into the city limits. If annexed, it would pay city taxes and be eligible for services. Right after that, the same land is up for rezoning as an employment center, basically a business park for offices, warehouses, and industrial use. Another employment center request is on Carlos Parker Boulevard, this one just 3 acres. And a request for 1102 Beach Street, asking to rezone from P2 rural, meaning very low density like large lots, to P4 mix, which allows more housing types and possibly small neighborhood businesses. There's also a proposal for a 2-acre infill neighborhood plan near Beach and Symes Streets, laying out how new housing would fit into the block with standards for sidewalks and streets. 2 other development items that were on the agenda, a planned apartment complex and a 38-acre planned development, have been withdrawn, so council won't be voting on those this time. And then we get to the big ones, the annual city budget and the property tax rate for next year. The budget is the city's master plan for how it will spend money from October 2025 through September 2026. It covers salaries for city staff, funding for police and fire, upkeep of parks, road repairs, utilities, drainage projects, and more. This is where council sets the city's priorities, what gets funded, and at what level. To pay for it, council will also adopt a property tax rate. The proposal on the table is 58.5 cents per $100 of value, which is a little lower than last year's 59.1 cents. But because property values have gone up, the average homeowner will still see an increase. For example, if your house is valued at $200,000, your city property tax bill would be about $1,170. For a $300,000 home, it would be about $1,755. So even though the rate looks like it's going down, the city will actually collect more money overall, thanks to growth in rising property values. That extra funding feeds directly into the budget, which in turn pays for city services and projects across Taylor. Then we get into the regular agenda items. The Economic Development Corporation will present its update and budget. They're working with about $7.6 million this year. Sales tax collections are strong, Samsung's construction-related revenues are tapering off, and they're dipping into reserves for a big chunk of their budget. What stands out is nearly $3.8 million going directly to city infrastructure projects, a huge jump from just $100,000 last year. Incentives are trending down, but targeted projects like Project iMarket are getting more investment. So the ECDC is shifting away from Samsung-driven growth and putting more money into Taylor itself. Next is the Comprehensive Plan and Development Codes update. The city is hiring Friesen Nichols to modernize both the Big Picture Growth Plan and the nuts and bolts zoning rules. Phase 1 costs about $133,000 and starts right away. It's the diagnostic and visioning stage, figuring out what's outdated, asking residents what kind of future they want for Taylor, and setting the framework for new codes. The full process will stretch across multiple phases, but this is the kickoff. Then there's Title VI compliance paperwork. This is required by the federal government to keep receiving grant money. It says the city won't discriminate in its services or programs based on race, color, national origin, sex, religion, age, or disability. What it does not include is sexual orientation or gender identity. Taylor doesn't currently have a local non-discrimination ordinance that adds those protections. So this is mostly about meeting the federal minimum, staying eligible for funding, and setting up a complaint process. After that, a big construction project, the Donna Channel drainage improvements. Council will award a $5.69 million contract to Texas Road. This includes a new detention pond, upgrades to the Donna Channel, new storm drains, culverts, a pedestrian bridge, and even 2,000 feet of new trail in Bull Branch Park. It's fully funded through state and federal grants, not local tax dollars. And the impact will be huge, protecting more than 40 homes from flooding, reducing street flooding on Mallard, Davis, and Drake, and improving public amenities at the same time. There's also an update on the 2024 street maintenance program. The city put $3.75 million into rebuilding and resurfacing streets like T.H. Johnson and Lake Drive. Construction started in June and is on schedule to finish in October. It's tracking under budget, which is good news. The residents have asked for extra improvements that go beyond what the budget allows. There will also be a presentation on creating a vacant building registration program. The idea is that owners of empty buildings would have to register them with the city, pay a modest fee, keep them maintained, and submit an action plan, whether that's renovation, sale, or demolition. The goal is to reduce fire hazards and blight, protect property values, and encourage reinvestment, especially in areas like downtown. The downside is that it takes staff time to manage, but the trade-off is more accountability for absentee owners. And one more thing before we wrap, concerns the city's sesquicentennial logo. Staff from Main Street will show council the recommended design for Taylor's 150th celebrations and ask them to approve it for official use. It's basically the branding we'll see on banners, flyers, and event materials during the anniversary year. Council can approve it as is or send it back for tweaks. Funding for the related promo materials would come from hot funds, so tourism dollars, not the general fund. After all that, council may go into a closed session with the city attorney to talk about a development project and PID policy. If they decide anything there, they'll come back and vote in public. And that's the rundown for the August 28th City Council meeting at 6 p.m. over at City Hall. If you want to see the full agenda for yourself, or if you'd like to watch the meeting live or catch the recording after, you can find it all on the City of Taylor's website at taylortx.gov. Thanks for watching the Quackery. Remember, this is completely unofficial. I'm just a neighbor learning out loud and sharing what I discover along the way. So jump on in. The more ducks in the pond, the more voices in the conversation, and together, the more we can shape Taylor's future.